Well, that gives us 3, which I think is enough for quorum. So I will call the meeting to order. And looking at the agenda, Jasmine, would you call roll, please?
Yes. Member Rose?
Present.
Member Probst?
Here.
Member Pease?
Here.
Member Laffey?
Here.
You have a quorum.
Oh, wonderful. We have all of us. In that case, we'll just move right along here. I will entertain a motion to approve the agenda. You should all have that sent in your emails.
Move to approve the agenda.
Approve the agenda.
I will. Wonderful. Moved and seconded. With no discussion, that will pass, and then I will next entertain a motion to approve the minutes from the previous meeting.
I move to approve the minutes of the previous meeting.
Thank you, Ms. Pease. Thank you, Mr. Laffey. All right. Moving then to our one item of new business today. That is Board of Adjustment Appeal number 2024-02. We need to determine if there are conflicts and whether we can establish a hearing panel and then schedule any subsequent hearings and meetings regarding that case. So, Mr. Laffey, you're raising your hand. I'll start with you.
Thank you, Master Chair. As some of the members of this board may know, I have a conflict with this potential appeal. I was a member of the platting board at the time the original decision for this case was rendered. I think that automatically makes me ineligible to participate in any subsequent appeals.
A man shall not sit as his own judge, I think, is the adage that I've heard. So thank you, Mr. Laffey, for that. Does anyone else? I'll just go around the table. Ms. Pease?
Yes, I believe I also have a conflict of interest. I was recused from the first round of the appeal because I am, or I should say separately, I am a member of Rabbit Creek Community Council, and as a member and as an individual, participated in the original public comment period for this plat, advocating trails and access primarily.
Thank you, Ms. Pease. So that makes you a witness in the lower matter, which obviously is, yes, a conflict for sitting on the Board of Adjustment. Well, Mr. Probst?
No conflict here.
Nor do I, but we have a problem, which is that we need a panel of 3 to hear a case. So maybe this is a good point where we can get some direction and advice from the people in the room who have been here for a while, Mr. Gates or Ms. Kitchen or Ms. Akers, maybe something that you'd recommend. My understanding is I think we have to basically hold this in abeyance until we have another member appointed to the board. I think that's the only solution, but is there another route? Do we have options?
I'm going to let Dean Gates address this because I think he's best suited.
Thank you, Ms. Kitchen and Chair Rose. Yeah, unfortunately, we have seen this situation arise in the past, and I really think it puts the board in a bind to proceed. Our code's kind of clear that there shall be a panel of 3 to decide each case, and we're unable to do that currently. And in the past, we did have to wait for a 5th member to be appointed. So I actually took some initiative, and Monday, becoming aware of this situation and the possibility of 2 conflicted members, I emailed the mayor and the chief of staff and asked them, can you expedite appointment of another member to the vacant seat here on our Board of Adjustment? And so they're working on that. At least I put it as a bright blip on their radar, and they're working to get someone in place soon. I think that there's nothing we can really do except wait for that. And just to add to the sense of the timeline, there's a required 10-day, you're probably all aware, 10-day public comment period when the mayor sends an appointment to the assembly for confirmation. And so we're probably looking at least 3 weeks. I mean, the February 11th meeting, regular assembly meeting, is the next meeting. I think it would be an amazing miracle if we get an appointment on that date, but you never know. And I think that our best hope is probably February 25th, the next assembly meeting, to hopefully have someone appointed then, and then you could commence. I think as long as that person isn't conflicted out in this matter, I have told them that the case name, case number, and that it was for the Mill subdivision. So I think they have a little facts about what matter we need, and I'm a conflicted member to sit in on.
Okay. Well, we can maybe do it one of two ways. We can either set a next meeting now, or we can just wait for that member to be appointed. And I, not knowing that there's even someone identified, I'd rather not waste our time kind of scheduling one than come back and we still don't have anybody and kind of continue doing it. So my thought, I'll hear counterpoints on this if anyone disagrees. But my thought is to not schedule another meeting for this appeal right now, wait for an appointment of a fifth member, and then at that point, we can schedule a meeting or call a meeting. Anyone disagree with that logic? And we can discuss that. Is there something in the code that requires us to have a meeting on the books for every existing appeal?
So, I guess it's a little bit of uncharted waters, but the Open Meetings Act does exempt meetings for quasi-judicial proceedings if it's only for that purpose. And there's also our Board of Adjustment code sections that say the chair shall assign the panel. It doesn't necessarily state that you have to have a meeting for the chair to do that. So, I think that there is a way to rationalize that you can assign the new member to this panel and then schedule the meeting to proceed with the case without actually having a full meeting of this board.
That makes a lot of sense, because we already know Mr. Laffey and Ms. Peace have the conflict. That's not going to change. Assuming the fifth member that gets appointed to the board has no conflict, and I would urge the mayor's office to use that as one of the qualifications when they're looking for someone, just so that we can solve this immediate problem. Once that person's appointed, at that point we can calendar the actual meeting at that time. So let's do that. That'll close that'll basically suspend the matter for today, pending a new member being appointed to the board. I'll move down the agenda then. Old business, we have none. Member comments. We'll go around the room for any member comments. I'll start with Ms. Peace.
No comments.
Thank you, Ms. Peace. Mr. Laffey.
No comments, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Probst.
Nothing here.
Okay. I also will waive any comment. Now in the agenda, we have audience participation. Before I get to audience participation, an admonition to everyone, we on the Board of Adjustments are not permitted to hear or know things outside of what's in the actual record on an appeal. So we don't take oral argument, we don't take testimony, we don't take comments on any case that's in front of us. So if you're calling in because you're interested or involved in the Mills subdivision case, don't say anything about that at all. This is a more general audience participation, but it is a public meeting. Board of Adjustment is a municipal board, so citizens have a right to attend those meetings and comment, generally speaking. So if anyone has any member comments and you're on the call, go ahead and unmute yourself, and hopefully not everyone talks at once. Okay, I waited a few seconds and no one seemed to speak, so we'll say no one has audience participation comments. And at that point, I will entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
So moved.
Thank you, Ms.
Seconded.
Pease, and seconded by Mr. Laffey. The meeting is adjourned. Thank you all. Our next meeting, for those of us that are in the panel, is the 31st. That's Mr. Laffey, Mr. Probst, and myself. You should have a calendar invite for that meeting, and then we'll send out notices with any other future meetings after that. Thank you, everyone. Have a